Mabuza, you really want safe cars with your security? What about your voters? Do you know what? Do you know that he or she sleeps in the ... All right, not too sure where we're going, but just obviously just saying that more needs to be done for the community as opposed to safe cars with security. Another one, here we go. Jenny saying, very interesting interview that's happening there. Amazing how your questions don't get answered. That's from Jenny, talking to you, Peter. Okay, Mr. Mabuza, people asking, why aren't you answering the questions? Here's another one, Muzi saying, good morning, Mr. Premier. Ermelo has got a water laboratory, but it's been closed now for two years, and we are drinking unhealthy water. What is going on? I think a good question. That one needs some response. Another one, Davidson Mabuya saying, Peter, ask the Premier what happened to the house built for the former Premier. Any plans over there? All right, perhaps something over there. And then finally, Manyovu, our Premier, can't drive a Toyota Corolla. He must drive an expensive car just like other people. Okay, that's something else that other viewers are saying. And there's Peter posting a picture there of the Premier while he was speaking. And yeah, that's what I can see for now. Just Paulette Langer saying, thank you, Premier, for the good job, even though you did not cover everyone, but indeed there is a good story to tell. Okay, so there you go. Those are just some of the comments that are coming through. We urge you to please continue sending your comments and questions through for the Premier. We are on until 9 o'clock this morning. Peter, it's back to you.
Back to you.
All right, Leanne, thank you very much indeed. So I think you get a sense of what some of the people that are coming through. The first one about safe cars, I think he was probably alluding to housing, because that's one issue that's a concern right across the country. I know the public protector was out here and looked around, and there were concerns about a registration process. It's not properly registered, that you are on the waiting list, and that people weren't getting appropriate services while they're waiting. Where are we in terms of RDP housing, Premier? Are we winning the battle? Are we providing housing? Is there a backlog? Is that being addressed? How far are we in terms of dealing with housing in this province?
Well, we've moved quite a distance to provide housing, but we are taking a new direction now, that of providing human settlement. We've started that process in Wheatbank, where we provide a complete human settlement, your housing, your school, your clinic, your roads, water, electricity at once. We think that's the way to go. Unlike responding to a crisis, allowing people to invade land and you come behind with services, we think that is very...
Where are we? Because I kind of like to get a sense of the progress. Percentage-wise, how many people still need to be dealt with? Is it 30% of the population? 40%? How far are we? How much have we done?
We are almost at 87%.
Okay, so there's 13% left.
Yes. And those people that are left are in the rural areas. A few in our big towns like Wheatbank, Secunda, because those are growing points. Therefore, people are going there to find jobs, right, and they settle there in a very informal way.
Okay. Unhealthy water, that's another concern. I think you had issues, Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, that was another area that was problematic.
Carolina is fine now.
Yeah.
You can go and drink the water there. Right. It's okay.
But is all the water in all of Mpumalanga safe?
Well, we're trying our best to purify them, to have our purification plants. And that, in the main, is the responsibility of all our municipalities, of course, with our support. We support them where we think they are not coping.
How well are your municipalities doing? I know we've got a lot of mayors here. The Auditor General does his reports every year, and I think last year you asked them to sign a document, municipal managers, that if they didn't get a qualified audit, or if they got a qualified audit, they should resign. If they didn't improve things, they should resign. What effect has that had?
Well, it has changed the situation. Of course, we are still fighting. We are not okay because we have not reached the level that is acceptable, according to me. There are still municipalities that are lagging behind. We still continue to get disclaimers.
Why are they failing? What's wrong?
Well, these municipalities, some of them are in remote areas, rural, very difficult to attract the relevant skills. And even if there are skills, they can't afford to pay those skills. Definitely, they will continue to grapple up until probably we improve their situation. Many people would like to go to Joburg because there are amenities for their children and all that. Now, to take a municipal manager to an area like Volkrast, Amersfoort, there's a municipality there. Very difficult to attract the relevant.
So why don't you subsidize and pay them more? Make it attractive to go there.
Well, that needs to be legislated so that that regime is controlled. We don't do as we wish. And the subsidy should probably be provided probably by the province or national. Because the municipality itself cannot afford.
Is it just skills? Because I also get a sense there's some infighting and squabbles that takes place that makes some of these municipalities difficult to run.
Well, of late there are less squabbles. The mayor, the speakers are no longer fighting that much. What is important is that they must find the relevant people to do the work. Because in the main, we judge them by the outcome of the Auditor General. That means their finances, they can't handle their finances, they can't deliver the necessary services. You need people that should assist you to deliver.
Okay, and this house built for the former premier, what is the story with that?
The former premier, the Premier Makwetla. Yeah, there's a house that was not built. In fact, it was a house that belonged to government, and I'm sure it's being utilized. I'm staying in another house, not new. It's an old house. So that's what I can say. Okay. The house it's in use.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And who's paying for that? Is it the taxpayer? It is.
It's a state house.
No, the former premier.
No, the former premier is not staying in a state house. No.
All right.
No. Yes.
Okay. Njabula says it's been 5 years now since Mr. Mabuza promised to fix Tonga Nas Road. I'm quite disgusted by this. It hasn't been fixed. Why is it taking 5 years?
No. The caller is mistaken. We are fixing that road. That road is in a place called Block B. As we are speaking, people are working there.
Okay. All right. So he's experiencing a different having a different experience on this road?
No, unfortunately, I know the province. I know every corner of the province. So,
All right, table
if you're
20.
speaking about that road.
Okay,
Yes.
table 27. Pagamile, your surname I can't quite read because you write like a doctor. So, Pagamile, if you could stand up, table 27, and just say your surname. It looks like Twala.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And congratulations to the Premier on his efforts to improve education outcomes. Just want to ask about the rollout of the National Youth Service in the province. And what is the government doing to increase the rollout? Because since it was launched in 2007, it's a very good program. And the efforts to increase its rollout for those young people who are unemployed and unskilled.
Okay.
Yes. Well, the rollout of that program clearly depends on the availability of resources. We are gradually expanding, but mindful of our capacity to sustain the program. It's going to expand, but more and more we think we should invest our resources on skills. Train those, link the skills training with industry. We think that should be the way to go.
How are you going to keep the skills in the province? Because one of the things I'm seeing in some of the other provinces is they train their people up and then they go to Gauteng or Western Cape. How are you going to keep them? You've got this university that's being built. How are you going to keep them in the province?
Well, we're not going to train for the sake of training. We're going to train, give people skills that are needed by the provincial economy. Remember, our economy is made out of largely mining, driven by mining, agriculture. So invest more training, skills in those sectors that are the main drivers of our economy in the province.
Okay.
Yes.
We're going to go to Leanne just now, but before that, a quick question from Dawood Mayet, table 25. Dawood Mayet, table number 25. Dawood, are you still here? There we go.
Thank you, Comrade Premier. Given the situation that most municipalities are facing currently, what is province doing to turn the situation around? That besides the service delivery issues, the issues of governance, management, and management of resources. Thank you.
Well, we are working with the province, the municipalities. We've created a forum where we assess each and every municipality on a monthly basis. But we are going to assist them to deploy the necessary skills and on a monthly basis check their finances so that we don't wait up until the end of the financial year to discover a problem. We think preventing the problem is better than curing the problem. So taking monthly reports would give us an opportunity to advise them on time so that they don't land in a problem. We still wait to see the outcome because it's a new process that we've started. We'll see what will happen at the end of this financial year. But we think we need also committed leadership in municipalities. That's the message that we're putting across to our mayors, to our municipal managers, that they must provide leadership and they must maintain their relationship with the people. Try very hard to close the gap between themselves and the people.
All right. Let's go to Johannesburg quickly. Leanne has got a couple of questions that have come through. Leanne?
Yeah, indeed we do, Peter. It's actually something that's come through not necessarily today. It was brought up once again today, but it was something that actually went viral quite some time ago on the internet and on social media. It's a picture that shows a woman, and Premier, this woman decided, she was actually a teacher, and she decided that she was going to take a bath in a pothole, and this just happens to be on the R36 in Mashadadorp, and she was basically proving a point by saying, what is being done by the state of the roads in the province? So there she is, having a bath. There we go. There's another nice picture for you. Have a look at the screen there, Premier. She's got her soap and her towel, and she's bathing in a muddy pothole. So, I really do think that this is just trying to prove a point from the people in this area and those visiting your province. When are the roads going to be sorted out?
All right. This is a theme that's coming through quite a lot. Somebody in Witbank, Sabatana says, Witbank potholes, please. You've spent 12.2 billion rand, I think, yes, on road infrastructure and other infrastructure. Why is it that we have this? Is it the rains are coming and we're just not coping and keeping up, or why do we have people concerned about these potholes?
Well, partly your last comment, we've got natural disasters, especially the rain would have a very adverse impact on our infrastructure, especially roads. But this is an exaggeration of the situation of a woman swimming in a pothole. It's an exaggeration. The reality of the problem is that to date, 95% of our roads are in a good state. You can drive on those roads. I've got 5% of our roads that need urgent attention. And remember, we maintain these roads on a yearly basis. We keep stock of what we've maintained, but in the last state of the province, I indicated that there's 5% of our roads that needs urgent attention. So, and I guess some of these roads fall within that category.
So 5%?
5%.
But, you know, the number of tweets that are coming through, they must be living in another Mpumalanga then. Because
we're talking about a road in Belfast.
No, but there's a number, I mean, we've just picked a couple, but there's quite a number of tweets, people complaining about roads in general, in various areas.
I'm talking about the percentage, the kilometers of our roads that are
it's
good.
It's just 5%.
Very good, very poor, and extremely poor. We've categorized our roads in that way. So I'm aware that there are roads that are very poor, right? And those only constitute 5%.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's go to table number 30. Sasekani, is that Mngozini? Manzini. Hey, I need new glasses. Table 30.
Thank you very much. Mine is to thank the Premier for the initiative that we have done in terms of signing an MOU with the private sectors with the issue of high rate of unemployment in the province, especially because it affects us as young people. But I wanted to check in terms of progress, if whether this private sector is sticking to what we have signed and agreed upon in terms of improving the lives of young people in the province. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, we are making quite reasonable progress in that space. The mining companies have come to the party Sasol has come to the party, ESCOM, SAB, and they are all putting their contributions. We think that's the way to go, because alone as the public sector, it will be difficult to deal with these problems. We need partnerships. We need to partner. But again, we need to allow our companies to invest more and more in our domestic markets.
Why aren't they doing it? They're obviously holding back for some reason. What is it?
Well, they're not really holding back deliberately. I'm sure the volatility of our currency is one of the problems. They find it very difficult to sustain themselves. A number of companies have closed down because of challenges of sustaining themselves and the difficulties within the domestic market and regional market. Our economy must open more and more to foreign markets.
You're on this corridor to Mozambique, and I would have thought that being in this corridor from Johannesburg to all the way to Beira, Maputo, and all of that, there should be some gains and benefits. Is that happening for you?
Well, the corridor should be leading us to the port of Mozambique. The port is currently not upgraded to a level where we can utilize it as a neighbor to export our products. There are efforts underway to try and improve the port and probably introduce a new port. It's more costly for Mpumalanga people to export their goods in Durban or Richards Bay. Richards Bay has tended to be a private port, not available for every business person. Now, our corridor therefore becomes not useful because the port in Mozambique it's not ready to take the volumes.
All right. Table 26, Zakele Singwan. Table 26. Where's table 26? If you could stand up, we'll get a microphone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to congratulate the Premier for providing the province with his leadership and wisdom. And the question I had also hinged around the issue of municipalities, to say what efforts are being done to improve the issue of revenue management, as it is one of the key aspects where our municipalities are actually lacking. Thank you.
Well, the problem it's related to our bigger problem. We might talk about revenue as revenue because most people that are living in those municipalities are unemployed, they're poor, they can't pay for the services. That means the municipality is just carrying people. Up until we address the problems of unemployment, poverty, we'll still have municipalities that are very poor. You talk of a municipality like Tembisile, their revenue collection it's less than a million rand in a year. This municipality must look after the roads, must supply water, must give electricity to people that can't pay for these services. Very difficult to sustain it. So the bigger problem is to try and get your people employed, deal with inequalities, so that at the end of the day, these people can participate meaningfully by paying for these services.
All right, so, I mean, we can see what the problem is. Is it not time maybe to think radically and just change the way that we do things? Every time I sit up here, I get the sense that there's the municipality, there's the provincial government, and there's national government, and there's these three tiers that are separate. And there has to be a disaster that happens before you have a provincial administration coming. There has to be a disaster that happens in the province before the national government comes. Is there no way to change the way we think and do things so that we don't have struggling municipalities struggling all by themselves because they don't have the people and don't have the revenue?
Well, that is a very big question because municipalities are governments on their own, established by the Constitution. So you don't interfere there. You can support. When you want to intervene, you must utilize the legislation to go in there. The only thing that we rely on as these spheres of government is our intergovernmental relations. That makes us to come together, plan together, talk together. But at any rate, everyone reserves the right to stand alone there. In a municipality that is governed by another party, you call a meeting, they decide not to come. You can't do anything to them because they are a government.
But in the end, your citizens are the ones that are suffering.
Yes. Now, the big question is, do you need municipalities? Do you need provincial governments? That is a matter that South Africans must address.
Okay.
Whether you need national government alone or do away with provinces, put more resources on municipalities so that they can be strengthened to deal with these problems.
Public Protector was here last year, towards the end of last year, and she says that the complaints that came through to her were about maladministration, service delivery complaints, excessive water, electricity billing, sewage spillage, non-collection of refuse, poor state of roads. That keeps coming up as a singular theme, and poor service from police. You said that you were going to address these. Have you? What are you doing to address these complaints from your people that they went to the Public Protector to say, look, this is the state of our province?
Well, we have attended one element, the cleanliness of our water. We have assisted our municipalities to manage that aspect because if you don't, the effects are very adverse. People can die. There are a lot of things that can happen. But still, remember that for municipalities to deal with waste management, roads, whatever, they need money. Now, there are municipalities in the province that entirely depends on grants. They are not getting revenue. Now, a grant, it's money with conditions. There's a condition attached to the money. You can only do this about this money. You must go and fix a road. Municipalities are therefore tempted at times to utilize this grant money to pay salaries because they've got people that must work, they must pay them. So as long as we've got such a setup where a community that is served by this institution is not contributing anything, this institution is going to collapse.
Okay, but that doesn't explain maladministration. That's just not doing things properly. And then corruption is another issue that they were concerned about. Tenders, the processes, they're complaining that if you don't have a friend, if you're not known, you're not going to get involved in a tender. What are you doing about managing that?
Well, you see, there is this tendency as South Africans to talk about corruption and generalize. Anything we call it corruption, which is not corruption. I'm saying there is no corruption, but let us not generalize. It will be helpful to say, if you stand up and say, there's corruption, give more details so that we can deal with that thing. Don't generalize. You know, people will stand up in a meeting and say, there's corruption and the public protector will take it serious. But elaborate. Tell us where is the corruption so that we can investigate and deal with it.
You've had your own people defect from the ANC, joining EFF, citing corruption as a reason.
Where?
What's this guy's name? Tamachwewe, I think. Tabang Tsonyane.
Defecting from the ANC to EFF.
Yeah.
I don't know of that one. I don't know.
I think he was a former chief whip or something. Was it? Paul Mokotsenyane. Tabachwewe.
Remember those people that are in politics. They are always grappling for space to lead. Now the ANC is a big organization, and if you don't find space to lead, or to be given an opportunity to stand for premiership, you jump and join UDM.
Okay, let's be clear then. Are you saying there is no corruption in Mpumalanga?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying let us not generalize. Once you say this matter, once you speak corruption, follow it up till to the logical end so that we can deal with it. I'm getting tired of a word, corruption, without really pointing at it and say, here's a corrupt practice, deal with it, Premier. There I can be held accountable because you have pointed at the corruption. If I keep quiet, then I am to be blamed.
Okay, all right. That's a good point to take another quick break. And when we'll come back,